Hello, guys, and welcome to this edition of Woman to Woman. We're moving into season 5. Can you believe that? Season 5 of Woman to Woman. And I am so delighted that you are here to join me. So, if you're new to Woman to Woman, the Woman to Woman podcast and broadcast, I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith, your professional mentor and speaker. Uh, and for those that have been rolling with me for the past several seasons, welcome back. And I am so delighted to greet you here on the platform. Um, man, moving out of one year into the next. And let me say, it has been nothing uh, shy of just pressing. I mean, we're still pressing through so much that is going on in our nations, in our world. Yet we're still here, we're still standing, still pressing through the days, trying to make it work, just trying to make it happen. So I wanted to join you here on the platform today to open up season 5, just to share with you uh, three ways that the ongoing pandemic is impacting the lives of women. And so that's what we're here to talk about today. We're going to talk about three areas of our lives that this ongoing thing that seems to go nowhere. It seemed to be going nowhere. Uh, Three ways that it's impacting our lives. And so let's talk about it today here on the Woman to Woman set. And so, number one of the ways that this ongoing thing that is going on in our nation is impacting women is that it's draining us financially. Financially, I think that uh, we're over it. We're spent. And much of it is not because we have poor financial spending habits, because we know that in the beginning and since the beginning of all this, we've picked up new habits, and that we're learning how to manage and budget and how to financially support the household in a way that it is beneficial for us. But one thing that I'm finding is that we are so emotionally uh, pressed to the point that we're finding ourselves reverting back into those old spending habits. So those finances that we would put back for a rainy day, or that we would uh, be a little more cautious in spending, we're finding that we're taking more trips, we're eating out more, we're going to the shopping centers things when things open back up and they're running sales and things like that. We're so emotionally battered that we're beginning to spend things that we may not have otherwise spent. Not only that, but even those of us with children, we can see the uh, impact that this ongoing thing is even having on our children and their desires to spend. We are emotional beings, and um, part of those emotion, you know, we find some comfort in spending. And so we're uh, convincing ourselves, so to speak, that we need things that we don't need. Think about the comfort foods that we're going out to buy. And not only that, you know that when we leave the house and we're getting out, we're spending money. So we find once again that one of the ways that this ongoing pandemic is impacting the lives of women is that it's draining us financially. And we cannot neglect to look at how um, the cost of products that we need or that we have to have, necessities, how they're going up. Not only that, maintenance on your vehicles, the cost of that is going up. The cost of utility and bills are going up. The cost of fuel for your vehicles is going up. Insurances is going up. So, you know, with the evolving year coming about, we know that inflation is real, and that not only that, the cost of living also increases. And so that's one of the things that I want to encourage you women who are listening here today and watching this broadcast. One of the things I want you to encourage you to do is go back and revisit that budget. Go back and look at your finances again, and look at um, where you can cut once again. Go and recreate another plan that is going to work so that your finances aren't continually being drained. Look at the people who are draining you financially that you can also cut or give a budget to. You know, those things are real. These things are real. So we're financially being drained. That's one of the ways this pandemic has imposed upon our lives, imposed upon our well-being, and you know, we cannot escape us. And if we build the habit of being emotional spenders, if we go back and we pick up that habit, then eventually we're going to find ourselves right back to where we started. And it's no different than the cycle of life. Um, cycle of life, things that we left unraveled or that we leave undone and neglect to give attention to, it begins to resurface and recycle into our lives. And so being financially drained, that's one of the ways that we are impacted. There's nothing that we can uh, really do about it. Being unconscious about the situation and thinking that it's just going to resolve itself. We really have to get intentional with our finances, going back and look at it. Not to mention, you know, many of us women, we're leaving our jobs, we're leaving our 9 to 5s, and we're opting in for maybe a different career, or maybe we opt in for our own small business, or maybe just opt out of work altogether, whatever that looks like. And so, uh, finances, you know, that's one of the resources that we need to survive and have a good quality of life, and to um, have options in our lives. And so that's one of the ways that it's in this ongoing pandemic is really draining us financially, even with the doctor bills and the hospital bills and the medications and things like that, that we're having to spend money out on that maybe we would not otherwise have to spend. What about those um, expenses that we're using to have to bury our loved ones, or having to support loved ones that we may not have necessarily had to support otherwise outside the pandemic? And so these are things that we look at uh, as a result of what's going on in our world around us that we have absolutely no control over. Think about the babies being born and the cost of healthcare and things like that, the cost of diapers and formula and things like that, that we're having to spend money on. Because we know that as a result of all the good and the bad and the ugly that goes on in our world, one of the ways that we're going to be impacted is through our financial resources. So if by chance you are one of those women out there who is listening to this broadcast today, and you have been impacted financially as a result of this ongoing situation that seems like it's never going to end, you know, I do have a free resource that you can go to my link tree and download for free. It is will help you regain control of your finances and help set you back on the path of financial security, so that when you go back and look at your budget, you'll have the tools and the resources you need to help uh, keep you on track. And so visit my link tree at linktree/Anntricia Bray Smith. You can go there right now click on ways to improve your finances and improve your credit score while you're at it. Because we know that if your finances are being drained, that your credit score is also going to be impacted because of your financial habits. So go and pick up that free resource. And if you've already picked up that free resource and you need additional resources, I do have a book, Financial Education Simplified, that you can pick up on Amazon that will help you not only line out your budget, but also put together a financial defense plan that can help you as you begin to hopefully make this new year a better make it through this new year with better financial and healthier financial outcomes. So that's a resource for you. It's free. And I know that if you're like me and you've been that emotional spender and you see the things that are just increasing around you that is drawing and sucking up your finances, that's one of the things that we're going to have to get back on track with, is so that we don't find ourselves financially exhausted during these economic times and these times of crisis, to where it seems to be hitting us right back to back to back to back, things that we don't necessarily have control over. And so number two, one of the ways that this ongoing pandemic is beginning to impact the lives of women is that we have, as women, increased our alcohol consumption. That's right, we've increased our alcohol consumption. So maybe for those of us who were just social drinkers, or we just drink every now and then, or maybe those of us that we didn't drink at all, one of the things that we find is that the consumption of alcohol has increased over the past couple of years. Being involved in this ongoing state that continually imposes mental frustrations. Many of us, we are created and destined for greatness, and a lot of the emotional blows and the strains that we have taken over the past 2 years have resulted in the consumption of alcohol, our wines and things like that we like to drink. And so more often than not, we find ourselves consuming. We find ourselves consuming, trying to cope, trying to find balance, trying to find some kind of comfort, or some kind of something that we can control. Maybe we're trying to forget the impact that this is causing on us. We've made it through the holidays, and the holidays can be a very difficult time by itself, but also when you think about the loved ones that you lost, and loved ones that are continually being sick, and you think about the financial strains that you're having to suffer through with all these unexpected things that come at you back to back to back. We increase our consumption of alcohol. And for some, maybe alcohol is not your vice, but whatever your vice is, it still has a negative impact on your ability to thrive and really be holistically satisfied, or to feel that whole, or to try to fill that void, that emotional void that you're feeling inside. So if alcohol is not your vice, what has been your vice, and how has it impacted you in the sense that you find yourself doing more of than what's norm for you as a result of this ongoing pandemic, and how it's impacting your lives as a woman. Many of us, we use sex as our vice. Um, Many of us, we use uh, religion as our vice. We find ourselves uh, being emotionally drawn into more religious settings, just trying to feel that peace or trying to fill those voids, and it leaves us continuously with this hole in our lives to where we don't know where it ends. Many of us, work is our vice. We surround ourselves with work and busy, 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 and never really feeling that we're productive, never really feeling that we're valued and we're given all, only to continue to wind up empty. Some of you, maybe smoking or other substance, legal or not. We find that as our vice, and we're consuming more of it because of the pressures of the things that are going on around us that we don't necessarily have control of. And one of the things that I found, that not only have I myself increased uh, my consumption of alcohol with the wines and the different things like that, but I've also increased surrounding myself in more social settings. I think that the ongoing pandemic has just been so traumatically uh, exhausting for me that I've, in a sense, just kind of waking up to where I've isolated myself long enough, and I'm just over the feeling of feeling alone. And maybe that I put myself in those social settings so that I can kind of drown out some of those feelings of loneliness and those insecurities of maybe I'm missing out on life. I think that, you know, in a sense, we feel like we miss out, and so we do what it takes to feel human. We do what it takes to feel alive and to feel some type of worth. And I believe that some of the things and causes behind my increased alcohol consumption is because I feel like, in a sense, some of my life has been robbed or taken from me. I've been robbed of some of that, spending lots of time alone and in isolation, not really uh, having people around to enjoy and to have laughs with and things like that. And so being in those social settings, you know, you are looking for that release. And so one of the ways is that increased alcohol consumption. And like I say, if it's not alcohol for you, it has been alcohol for many of us. And for you, it may be sex or some other legal or illegal substance that uh, has been your vice. So it is what it is. Even surrounding yourself in religious settings and organizations to where uh, you're putting yourself in an environment where you're trying to forget or make sense or to find some kind of resolve for the issues that you're going through as a result of this ongoing thing. And it impacts us women. It impacts us women. We're so resilient and we carry so much of the weight, not only of the family, but of so many other areas of our lives. And so it has a great impact on us. And so uh, one of the escapes that many of us has used is the use of alcohol. Last but not least, number three, the ways that this ongoing pandemic is impacting the lives of women is that we have also adopted, or we've also realized that as women, we have a lower tolerance for BS. Yeah, we have a lower tolerance for the bullshit. We have a lower tolerance for uh, not being treated uh, the way that we feel like we deserve, not only in our relationships, but on our jobs. We have a lower tolerance for um, fake stuff. We have a lower tolerance for things not being fair or for us not feeling valued. Um, a lower tolerance for uh, confusion, a lower tolerance for um, just being put last or being devalued. And so that is one of the things that um, this ongoing stuff that is going on in our nation, in our world, is revealing to women. You know, we have lower tolerance. Many of us have walked away from relationships. Many of us are walking away from jobs. Many of us are putting our feet down and establishing healthier boundaries around who occupies our space and our time. And we're just over it. You know, emotionally, we have been battered to the point that sometimes we think that uh, if, if you could just be honest and reveal yourself for what it was, or if you could just tell us you don't need us on the job anymore, if you could just tell us you don't want us anymore in the relationship or whatever that is, you know, if you could just be honest, we could accept that better than the ongoing BS that you continue to put out there and to think that it's okay and that it's not. So many of us, you know, like I said, 3 ways that this ongoing thing is impacting the lives of women is financially, the increase in alcohol consumption, and the lower tolerance to put up with BS that, you know, we're just over. You know, 2 years being confined into certain situations and not really being able to go and to move about and to be free and to really thrive in our lives the way that we normally would. You know, we've been pressed like olives. We've been pressed like olives, and you can't continue to bring the same old stuff expecting different results. And so, one of the ways that we women are dealing with it, because we have such a lower tolerance for it, is that we're just leaving it all together. So that impacts the dynamics of the family. So many families are going from two-parent households to single-parent households, and we're going to make it work the best way that we can. Many of the children, you know, are displaced because a lot of the things that have evolved as a result of this stuff, and it's causing a lot of mental challenges. You know, and I can say that we as women are having a lower tolerance for BS and the things that go on. But I'm an educator. I'm in the school with children, and a lot of them, you know, they have a lower tolerance for it as well. Lower tolerance for fake stuff, and a lower tolerance for being mistreated and not feel valued, or to be talked down to, or to be neglected or abused. You know, there's a lot of things that you know, we just don't have the tolerance for anymore. And so I believe that it is a result of the ongoing pressures in our world and in our surroundings. And we just want to be free. We want to be respected. We want to be valued. And when something comes along to jeopardize that, we look for any way that we can to escape that, so that we can find our sacred place in our place of peace, so that we can get back to what really matters. And that is nothing in this world that I think that could pay the cost for a peace of mind. I don't know that you can put a price tag on a peace of mind. So um, these are three ways that I believe that the ongoing pandemic is impacting the lives of us women. But all I want to say to you is that there is hope, to hang in there, uh, to do what you got to do for you for a change. You know, we've spent the last couple years, so to speak, not to say that we haven't always, but extreme, in an extreme sense, these last couple of years, just put in a whole new dynamic of life. And if we don't have one another, if we can't come together and support one another and to be one another's strength in those places that we're weak and to encourage one another, I don't know what's going to become out of the year ahead. You know, I always say that things aren't going to get better, they're going to get worse, but we in the process can get better. And there are resources and there are things out here for us to utilize. Surround yourself with people who love you and that value you. Know what you will accept and what you won't accept, and make it your best life ever. We can still live our best life for the rest of our lives, giving it all we have, if we just surround ourselves with like minds in an environment that is not afraid to grow with us, that's not afraid to see us grow into our own, and is not afraid to uh, allow you to shine, which is what you were created to do anyway. So don't forget, visit my link tree. I have some uh, free and valuable resources there for you. Not only that, but I have several books. And one of the things that I think that we need right now is a good financial education to help us go back and relook at our budgets, relook at our finances for what it is, and to set things in motion so that we begin to create a new legacy for our families in this new economy, in this new world that it is evolving into. Nonetheless, I appreciate you for being here with me for this episode of season 5. Can you believe it? Of Woman to Woman. But until next time, I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith, your professional mentor and speaker.